Hey everybody, it's Mike. I've had this Gibson Baldwin sitting around for a while in the closet. I picked it up a while ago. I think I paid something like $75 to $100. I don't remember. It's been a while. So it's been sitting there in inventory, in storage, waiting for me to do something with it. And one of the things I wanted to do with one of these guitars is to work a system where I can get rid of this wraparound bridge. And this is called a compensated wraparound bridge because you can see the saddles, how they're staggered. This is supposed to allow you to be able to intonate the guitar correctly at the 12th fret. Make sure the notes are in tune. The problem is these wraparound bridges are just terrible. And I have yet to really work one where I was able to intonate the guitar correctly. And that's why with some of the Gibson Baldwins and even the Gibson Melody Maker I have upstairs, which comes with this type of bridge, I wound up putting a hip shot bridge on. That's that little bridge that looks like a triangle. And that's a much, much, much better bridge. So what I'm going to do with this guitar, because it really is in very, very good shape. The frets have got to be cleaned up. But other than that, the body of the guitar is in excellent condition. I thought, well, one of the things that I can do here is I could put a trapeze tailpiece on the guitar, which will allow me to remove this bridge and put a regular tune-o-matic bridge on with the ability to move the saddles back and forth. And the ability to move the saddles back and forth says that I'm going to be able to intonate the guitar correctly. So the key is to put this on the guitar. I picked this up from AliExpress. I don't remember what I paid for it. I think it was something like $8. I bought it a while ago and it's been in my inventory. So I'm going to do the work on this guitar today. It won't take me very long and we're going to see how it comes out. So the job here is going to be to put this trapeze tailpiece on, tune-o-matic bridge. I'm going to leave the pickups alone, and I'm going to clean the frets up, and then restring the guitar and see what we have. Okay, so let me get started, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the trapeze tailpiece is already installed, and there you go. And what I did was I lined it up with the seam here on the veneer, and that's where I put the strap lock, and then just two little screws here, and there you go. So now the next thing is I'm going to put a regular tune-o-matic bridge in, and I'll clean up the frets, string it up, and we should be ready to go. All right, so I'll be right back. Okay, a little adventure. So the posts, or the holes for the posts for the wraparound bridge were wider than the post spacing for the tune-o-matic I'm going to put in. So what I needed to do was to put some half-inch dowels in the holes over here and over here, and then start drilling. So the way I do the drilling is I start with a very small bit and I keep working my way up to a larger bit. Do not try to do one big bit the first time, because what will happen is if you slip or if you don't get it right, you're going to make a hole in the wrong place, and also you will chew up the finish, and you don't want to do that. So these are glued in, by the way. So and the glue that I used, great glue, Titebond 2 premium wood glue. It's a great glue, and it's the glue I use when I put fretboards on necks. So the next thing is to continue to make these holes larger with an assortment of bits that I have until I'm able to get the anchors here and here. Okay. Now you will see a piece of the dowel when you put the bridge on. Okay, so let me just show you that. And you'll see this on some guitars. You can see how the holes line up. But it's not going to be too bad. You can see it right here on the side. And the same thing will happen on this side here. This is harder to tell because I have the tape wrapped around the dowel. All right, so that's what we're doing right now. And I'll continue this, and then I'll be back. Okay, so you can see the bit sizes are getting bigger now. The other thing I want to show you is that you want to make sure that you tape off how deep you're going to go with this bit, because otherwise, you know, if you don't pay attention, you'll go right through the other side of the guitar. So what I do is I measure the anchor not the top part here. So in fact, I should probably take the top part off. Let me see here. Here's one without the actual post, you see. So, and you can even see it's a little shallow than the actual anchor itself right here. And that's just precautionary to make sure I don't go too deep. Okay, so I'm taking out the big gun here now. It's the only drill that I have that's going to be able to take these size bits. Okay, so I'll be back. So let me show you what I did here. I took a little bit of clear coat and I brushed it on. And what the clear coat does on unfinished wood is it darkens it up just a tad. So if you take a step back, see if I can get that light out of the way, it becomes more difficult to discern that there's a dowel there. And once you put the posts in and then connect the bridge, you're really not going to be able to see it. So this is how you do it. You just have to make sure, I should have pointed this out earlier, that the Les Paul necks are 27 3/4 inches, which means that it's got to be 26 3/4 at the center of the bridge. Give or take 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch or so, okay? So that's why you have the saddles that go back and forth. But try to get it around 26 3/4, right diagonally across from post to post. That's where you want to be. And then you can move the posts back and forth to adjust for intonation. If you don't have it at 26 3/4, then what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to intonate your guitar. All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, so I'm just going to let the clear coat dry. It won't take very long, maybe 15-20 minutes. I'll drop the posts in and then we should be good to go. Okay, so you can see it's coming along. Here's the trapeze tailpiece, and this will be elevated like this. Once the strings go on, it'll go up over the saddles, and you can see that's where the dowel is, and it's, you know, it's really not very discernible, so this looks very good. And now what I've got to do is just clean up these frets a little bit because they're a bit of a mess. No wear on them, but it's just that the guitar has been sitting around a long time. This guitar, this Gibson Baldwin, this type, is about 10 years old. They don't make them like this anymore. So these are the better ones to get. The only problem is that the frets on these, on many of them, are not spaced correctly. This one is just barely there. I took my luthier's tool out, the notched luthier tool, and it's just barely there. So I'm not going to go through the process of putting a new fretboard on or putting a new neck on. We're just going to go with what we've got here and leave it at that. It'll play fine, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, but if you do pick these guitars up, keep in mind, and the way you know, it'll say Signature Series. Sorry, it's upside down. Flip the camera around. Signature Series. So if you pick up one of these Gibson Baldwins, just know that the fret spacing, I have, let me see, I think I picked up 4 or 5 of them over time. Only one of them had the proper fret spacing, and this one is, it's there, but it's barely there. So I'm going to put it in the category of iffy, okay? Not spot on. Only one was spot on. All right, so let me clean the frets up, and then I'm going to put the strings on, and then we're going to see how this thing looks. Okay, so we made a lot of headway here. You can see that the trapeze tailpiece is on. Got the bridge. I'm not so sure I'm happy with this bridge. This is a bridge I had lying around. I have others. I went with a used one versus one of the new ones I have, so I might go with a new one. This one here, there's something with the springs, but it's working okay now. I just had to futz around with it, but if I have to swap it out, it's not a big deal. Got all the action set. I had to tighten up the truss rod. There was too much relief in the neck. I don't think whoever had this guitar actually really ever played it. The plastic sheathing was still on the truss rod cover, also on the three-way switch cover. There's practically, I'm not even going to say practically, there's no wear to the frets. I do have a fret up here, though, that's rocking like a hurricane, man. It's like a seesaw. So I'm going to have to take care of that, because when I play an A or a D up at the 12th fret, it's buzzing. And I use the fret rocker, and it's right here. This is the culprit. And it's really rocking big time. So I'll have to fix that, and maybe what I'll do is I'll focus on the frets from the 12th fret up, because when you play lead guitar, that's where it's most important. No buzzing down here. I didn't check the frets, but there's no buzzing, so I'm not going to worry about it. Like I said, the guitar was like, I think it was $75 I got it for. So it's looking pretty good. The pickups work fine. They're not state-of-the-art, obviously. They're okay. If I was going to keep the guitar, I would swap them out, but what I'm looking to do with this guitar is to fix it up with a cheap and then flip it. So I'll keep the pickups in there. I will put on a pick guard. I have an extra cream-colored pick guard lying around someplace in my box. I'll put that in, and I'll polish it up, and we should be good to go. Okay, so there you go. This guitar had no trapeze tailpiece, and again, so that was put in, and in order to do that, I had to put some dowels in the holes that used to have the wraparound tailpiece, because we got rid of that. We went with a tune-o-matic bridge, and the holes for the wraparound tailpiece, well, they were too wide. They were wider than the holes, or for the posts, for the tune-o-matic. So I had to put some dowels in, one there, one here. I put some clear coat on the dowels in order to darken the wood a little bit. And other than that, I cleaned up the fretboard, and that was really dirty. The tuners worked fine. The truss rod was a little stiff, but it worked okay. It tightened up the neck. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pick guard on, and then I'll come back and you'll see the finished product, and that'll be that, okay? All right, guys, be back. Okay, so we're all finished up with this guitar, and I put the pick guard on. And as I said, tomorrow I'll have to work on the frets up here a little bit to get them leveled, especially that one after the 12th fret, which is creating a little bit of a problem with buzz. But other than that, it came out pretty darn good. And again, I took the wraparound bridge off and put a tune-o-matic, but in order to do that, I had to put a tailpiece on, so I put a floating trapeze tailpiece on the guitar. I had to fill the holes with dowels from the old tailpiece because it was wider than the tune-o-matic bridge. And if you were really taking your time doing this, and you really, let's say your guitar was a keeper, you would work to maybe put some stain in there and get a closer match. But I wasn't too concerned with that because this is not a keeper for me. Like I said, I had this guitar sitting in a closet for months. I decided to take it out today and put that trapeze tailpiece on. And then my goal is to flip it. Maybe I can make 50 bucks, 75 bucks on it. Last time I sold one of these Gibson Baldwins, I made $100 on it. Not too bad. They're not great guitars, I can tell you that. But they are beginner guitars, so I don't want to knock them too badly. I mean, they're nice looking guitars. They look like the real deal from a Les Paul perspective. But they are made in China. It is the Gibsons that are really made in China. And it is a joint venture with the Baldwin Piano Company, and they make beginner instruments. And so, like I said, I think earlier in this video, this guitar, this type of Gibson Baldwin guitar, is about 10 years old at least. Today they make, I think, Maestro, and before that they were making Epic, and they're just not as nice looking. They got away from, I guess, building a guitar that looked too close to the real Les Paul, and then sticking their name on it, because on the back of the guitar there is it's a bolt-on neck. I don't know if you can see that, but it says, let me see if I can get that for you. It says Gibson Baldwin. So maybe Gibson didn't want to have their logo or their brand on a guitar that really is not well made. It's okay at best. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's the guitar video for today, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm getting tired, and I'll be back tomorrow.
I feel good, I feel bad, I feel happy, I feel sad. Am I in love? I must be in love. I feel rich, I feel full, I'm in doubt, I feel sure. Am I in love? I must be in love. time.